The shuttle from Earth touched down smoothly on the wide landing platform of Vexara Prime. The planet was neutral ground, chosen by the Galactic Concord for big meetings because no single species owned it. Tall silver towers rose around the platform, and the sky had a soft purple color from two small suns. A cool wind carried the smell of strange flowers and machine oil. Laura Bennett stepped out first. She was 42 years old, with short brown hair and calm green eyes. She wore a simple dark blue suit that Earth diplomats always chose for meetings. Nothing flashy, just clean and serious. Behind her came Daniel Hayes. He was taller than Laura, with short black hair, wide shoulders, and the quiet way of a man who had seen trouble before. His suit was black, the same as Laura's, but under it he carried things most people never saw. A small shield device, a high-speed pistol, and years of training that made him dangerous when he needed to be. But a group of alien officials waited at the edge of the platform. The leader was a tall, thin creature named Lyrak from the Vexari people. His skin was pale blue, and 4 long arms moved gently as he spoke. "Welcome, Representative Bennett," he said through a small translator box on his chest. His voice sounded like soft bells. "The Concord is pleased to have Earth join us again." Laura gave a small smile and nodded. "Thank you, Delegate Lyrak. Our Earth looks forward to fair talks." Daniel stayed 1 step behind her left shoulder. His eyes moved slowly across the crowd, checking faces, hands, weapons, exits. Most of the aliens did not even look at him. To them, he was just another human servant, small and soft compared to their own guards. A few Krell enforcers stood at the back. They were big insects with hard black shells and clicking mandibles. One of them made a low buzzing sound that might have been laughter, and the group walked toward the main hall. The floor was smooth white stone that felt cool under their shoes. Huge windows showed the city outside, ships moving in slow lines, lights flashing in patterns. Inside the hall, more delegates waited. There were tall, feathered beings from the Eyrie, short crab-like creatures from the Dorun, and many others. All of them turned to watch the humans enter. Laura felt the stares. She had been to alien worlds before, but this summit was bigger. And Earth was new to the Concord. Only 30 years since first contact. Many species still saw humans as strange newcomers. They were short-lived, they got angry easily, and they built things too fast. Some aliens liked humans, others did not. They took seats at the long round table in the center. Laura sat between 2 friendly delegates, one from the peaceful Salar, who looked like walking plants, and one from the Tormi, who had glowing skin. Daniel did not sit. He stood behind Laura's chair, hands behind his back, face calm. A few aliens whispered to each other. One Eyrie tilted her head feathers and asked her neighbor, "Why does the human female need a guard? Does she not trust the Concord?" Laura heard the whisper through her own translator earpiece. She kept her face still and answered a question from the Salar delegate about Earth's new mining rules. Her voice was clear and steady. She talked about fair trade, shared resources, and peace. The aliens listened, some nodding, and some writing on small screens. After the first hour, a break was called. Delegates stood and moved to side tables for food and drink. Laura stayed seated for a moment, checking notes on her tablet. Daniel leaned down slightly. "Everything looks normal so far," he said quietly, "but the Krell group keeps watching you." Laura nodded once. "I noticed. They don't like our new colony in the Epsilon Fringe. They think it breaks old maps." Daniel did not reply. Yet he just straightened up and scanned the room again. At the food tables, a tall Krell named Vrax approached Laura. His shell shone under the lights, and his 4 arms ended in sharp claws. He carried no weapon openly, but everyone knew Krell guards were always ready. "Representative Bennett," he said, his voice deep and rough through the translator. "Your people move fast, too fast. The Epsilon system was marked neutral for a reason. Laura met his black eyes without fear. Right, the Concord voted on that system 3 years ago. Earth followed the rules. We found no active claim. Vrax clicked his mandibles. Rules change when new facts appear. We will discuss this in closed session tomorrow. Be ready. He turned and walked away. 2 other Krell followed him, their steps heavy. Daniel watched them go. His hand rested lightly near his belt, where the pistol was hidden. Laura touched his arm gently. "Not yet," she said. "Words first." Daniel gave a small nod, but his eyes stayed on the Krell. The break ended, and the talks continued. Laura spoke again, this time about medical aid. Earth had new vaccines that worked on many alien species. She offered to share the formulas for free to smaller worlds. Some delegates looked pleased. Others stayed quiet. As the day ended, the hall slowly emptied. Laura gathered her things. Daniel walked close beside her toward the exit. Outside, the purple sky had turned darker, and stars began to show. A transport waited to take them to their guest quarters. Before they reached the door, Lyrak approached again. His forearms moved in a nervous pattern. "Representative Bennett," he said softly. "A word, please. In private." Laura stopped. Daniel moved half a step forward, blocking the path a little. Lyrak looked at him, then back at Laura. "It is only talk," he said. "No harm." Laura thought for a second. "All right, but Daniel comes with me." Lyrak hesitated, then nodded. I spoke quickly. "There is talk." Some spoke quickly. "There is talk. Some delegates, especially the Krell and their friends, want to push harder tomorrow. They may call for your detention. They say Earth broke trust, and you must answer questions under guard." Laura's face did not change. "Detention? On what legal ground?" "Old laws," Lyrak said. "They will twist them. If they vote in closed session, how it could pass. I tell you this because some of us do not want trouble with Earth." Laura looked at Daniel. He stood near the door, silent, listening. "Thank you for the warning," Laura said. "We will be ready." Lyrak bowed slightly and left. The door opened again and the cool night air came in. Outside, Daniel walked even closer to Laura. "They won't take you," he said. His voice was low and sure. Laura smiled a little. "I know, but let's hope it stays words." They stepped into the transport. The doors closed and the vehicle rose quietly into the purple sky. Below them, the towers of Vexara Prime glowed with lights. Tomorrow would be harder. The closed session was coming, and the Krell were not known for backing down. Daniel looked out the window, his face calm. But inside he was already planning. Every exit, every angle, every possible move. He had one job. Keep Laura safe. No vote, no law, no alien squad would change that. The transport flew on, carrying the Diplomat and her bodyguard toward whatever waited in the morning. The next morning came fast. The closed session started at first light. The big round table in the main hall now had fewer chairs. Only the most important delegates sat there. Guards from different species stood along the walls, silent and still. The air felt thick, like before a storm. Laura Bennett walked in with her head high. She wore the same dark blue suit. Her face showed no fear, only calm focus. Daniel Hayes followed right behind her, one step to the left. His black suit looked the same as yesterday, but his eyes were sharper now. He had not slept much. He spent the night reviewing maps of the hall, checking every door and window, and testing his shield device one more time. They took their seats. Around the table sat the leaders of the bigger species. Lyrak from Vexara Prime sat at the head, trying to look neutral. Next to him was the tall Krell commander, Vrax. His black shell gleamed under the bright lights. 4 sharp claws rested on the table. 2 more Krell guards stood right behind him, bigger than the others, with stun batons hanging from their belts. The session began with quiet words. Lyrak spoke first. We gather to discuss the Epsilon Fringe colony. Earth claims the vote 3 years ago was clear. Others say new evidence shows the system was never truly open. Laura leaned forward. The vote was recorded. Earth followed every rule. We built one small research station. No weapons, no army, just science. Vrax made a low clicking sound. His mandibles moved fast. Science, he said. You dig for minerals. You claim land that was marked for joint use. That breaks the old pacts. You act like the galaxy belongs to you. A few delegates nodded. Others looked uncomfortable. An Aerie with bright red feathers spoke up. The conquered must keep peace. If Earth ignores old maps, others will do the same, Laura answered quickly. But we do not ignore maps. We read them. The Epsilon system had no active claim when we arrived. We sent proof to the Concord office. No one answered for 2 years. Vrax stood up slowly. His height made the table look small. Words are easy, he said. Actions matter. Earth must answer for this. We demand Representative Bennett come with us for questioning. Under Concord Law, Section 47-9, a diplomat can be held if they threaten stability. The room went quiet. Laura's translator earpiece repeated the words clearly. She felt the weight of every stare. Lyrak raised 2 of his arms. This is serious. We need a vote. Laura spoke before anyone could move. There will be no vote on my arrest. Earth does not accept this. Section 47-9 requires clear evidence of immediate danger. There is none. This is politics, not law. Vrax clicked again, louder. You refuse? Then we will take you ourselves. He gave a sharp signal. And the 2 big Krell guards stepped forward. Their heavy feet made the floor shake a little. One reached out a claw toward Laura's arm. Daniel moved. He stepped in front of Laura so fast it looked like he had always been there. His body blocked the path between her and the guards. His right hand rested near his belt, fingers close to the hidden pistol. His left hand stayed open, ready. The lead Krell guard stopped. He looked down at Daniel. Move, human, he said through his translator. And the voice was deep and rough. This does not concern you. Daniel did not move. His voice came out low and even. It concerns me. Laura put a hand on Daniel's shoulder. Daniel, stand down, she said quietly. We can talk this through. Daniel did not look back. No, ma'am, not today. Vrax laughed. It sounded like dry sticks breaking. One small human thinks he can stop us? You are soft, weak. Step aside or we will crush you. The other delegates watched. Some looked shocked, and others leaned forward curious. No one had ever seen a single bodyguard stand against Krell enforcers before. The Aerie delegate whispered to her neighbor, He will die fast. Daniel kept his eyes on Vrax. I am not here to fight, he said. I am here to protect my diplomat. You want her? You go through me first. Laura tried again. This is not needed. Let us bring this to the full assembly. Let everyone see the facts. Vrax ignored her. He waved a claw. Take her. If the human resists, I remove him. The 2 Krell guards moved at the same time. One reached for Laura. The other swung a stun baton toward Daniel's head. Daniel did not flinch. His left hand came up fast and caught the baton in mid-swing. The energy crackled against his palm, but he did not let go. With a quick twist, he pulled the weapon free and tossed it to the floor. The guards stared, surprised. The second guard grabbed at Laura's sleeve. Daniel's right hand snapped out. He pushed the claw away with enough force to make the big insect step back. Then he turned fully toward them. Last warning, Daniel said. Back off. Vrax stepped closer. His mandibles opened wide. You dare touch my guards? You will regret this. The room filled with tension. Delegates stood up. Some backed away. Lyrak called out, "Stop! This is a council hall!" No one listened. One Krell guard raised his baton again. This time he aimed to strike hard. Said Daniel activated his shield with a small tap on his wrist. A faint blue shimmer appeared around him, thin but strong. The baton hit the shield and bounced back with a loud snap. The guard stumbled. Daniel drew his pistol in one smooth motion. It was small, black, and looked simple, but the barrel pointed steady at Vrax's chest. "I said back off," he repeated. The Krell froze. They knew weapons. They knew when one was serious. Laura stood up behind Daniel. Her voice cut through the silence. "You wanted to test, Earth. Here it is. We do not run. We do not abandon our people. If you want me, you will have to go through him, and he will not let that happen." Vrax stared at Daniel. For the first time, the big insect looked unsure. The other delegates watched in silence. A few started recording with small devices. This moment would spread fast. The lead Krell guard looked at Vrax for orders. Vrax clicked slowly. "This is not over," he said. "We will vote. And when we do, your little guard will not save you." He turned and walked out. His guards followed, mandibles still clicking in anger. The room stayed quiet for a long moment. Lyrak finally spoke. Session paused. "We will meet again in 1 hour." Delegates began to leave. Some looked at Laura and Daniel with new eyes. Others whispered fast. Laura sat back down. She looked at Daniel. "You okay?" Daniel holstered his pistol. The shield shimmer faded. "Yes, ma'am." She gave a small smile. "I thank you." He nodded once. "Just doing my job." Outside the hall, the purple sky still shone. But inside, everything had changed. The Krell had tried to take her. The Bodyguard had said no, and now the whole Galactic Concord knew. Humans did not break easily. The vote was coming, and Daniel would be ready. The hall felt smaller now. Delegates who had left during the break hurried back to their seats. Whispers filled the air like insects buzzing. Everyone knew what had just happened. The Krell had tried to take Laura. One human had stopped them. No one had died, but the room still smelled of burned energy from the stun baton and the shield. Laura Bennett sat straight in her chair. Her hands rested on the table, calm. She looked around at the faces, some shocked, some angry, some curious. Daniel Hayes stood behind her again, but closer this time. His pistol was back in its hidden holster. His shield device stayed ready on his wrist. His breathing was slow and even. Like he had done nothing more than walk across a street. Lyrak raised all 4 arms for quiet. "The session will continue," he said. His voice shook a little. "We must decide this matter with order." Vrax did not sit. He stood tall at the other side of the table. His black shell looked darker under the lights. The 2 guards who had attacked stood behind him, one rubbing his claw where Daniel had pushed it. Vrax pointed a sharp claw at Daniel. "This human attacked Concord officers," he said. He must be removed. Then we take the Diplomat." Daniel answered before Laura could speak. "I did not attack. I defended. You gave the order to grab her. I stopped it. That is all." Vrax clicked his mandibles fast. "You refuse to obey Concord law?" "I obey Earth law," Daniel said. "And my orders. Protect the Diplomat. No exceptions." A Dorun delegate, short and crab-like with thick red armor, spoke up. "This is madness. One guard cannot block the will of the conquered." Laura turned to him. "Oh, the Concord has rules too. Arrest needs proof and a vote. You have neither yet." Vrax laughed again, short and hard. "Then we vote now." He looked at Lyrak. "Call it." Lyrak hesitated. His blue skin paled a shade. "Very well. The motion is, detain Representative Bennett for questioning under Section 47-9. All in favor?" Hands and claws went up. The Krell side voted yes. Some Airy joined them. A few smaller species followed. Laura counted in her head. It was close. Opposed? Lirak asked. Sivrak slammed a claw on the table. The Tormy with glowing skin said no, some others too. The count ended almost even. Lirak looked uncomfortable. The motion fails by 1 vote. Vrax slammed a claw on the table. The sound echoed. This is a joke. Earth buys votes? Laura stood up slowly. No one bought anything. They saw facts. Your claim is weak. You want power, not justice. Vrax stepped forward. Then we do this the old way. He signaled again. This time, 4 Krell guards moved, 2 from the sides, 2 from behind. They pulled out longer stun rods that glowed blue at the tips. The room filled with the low hum of charging weapons. Delegates gasped. Some stood to leave. Lirak shouted, "Stop this at once!" The Krell ignored him. Daniel moved in front of Laura again. "Stay behind me," he told her quietly. Laura did not argue this time. She stepped back a little. The first guard swung his rod at Daniel's head. Daniel ducked low. The rod passed over him with a crackle. He came up fast and drove his elbow into the guard's soft joint under the shell. The Krell grunted and dropped to one knee. Another guard came from the side. Daniel twisted, caught the rod with both hands, and yanked hard. The guard lost balance. Daniel kicked the back of the guard's leg. The big insect fell forward onto the table with a crash. The other 2 charged together. One aimed low for Daniel's legs. The other went high. Daniel activated his shield again. The blue shimmer appeared brighter now. The low rod hit the shield and sparked. The high one glanced off. Daniel fired his pistol once, only once. The round hit the high rod right at the power cell. It exploded in a shower of sparks. The guard dropped the broken weapon and backed away. The last guard hesitated. Daniel looked at him. "Don't," he said simply. The guard looked at Vrax. Vrax's mandibles opened wide in rage. "Coward!" he shouted at his own guard, and then he turned to Daniel. "You think this makes you strong? You are one. We are many." Daniel kept the pistol steady, pointed at the floor now. "I do not need many. I need her safe. That is enough." Laura spoke from behind him. "Listen to him. Walk away. This does not have to end bad." Vrax stared at her, then at Daniel. For a long second, no one moved. The hall was so quiet you could hear the soft hum of the air systems. Then Vrax clicked slowly. "This human, he does not fear us." Daniel did not smile. "I fear failing my job." A few delegates laughed nervously. The tension broke a little. Lirak used the moment. "Enough! All guards stand down! No more violence in this hall!" The Krell guards lowered their weapons. They pulled back to Vrax's side. Vrax looked around the room. Many eyes watched him now, not with fear, but with something new. Respect? Curiosity? He saw it and hated it. "You win this round," Vrax said to Laura. But the Concord will remember. Earth will pay for this insult." He turned and walked out. His guards followed. The door closed behind them with a heavy sound. The room let out a breath. Delegates talked fast in low voices. Some came closer to Laura. The Salar delegate touched her arm gently with a leaf-like hand. "You are brave," he said. "And your guard. He is something else." Laura looked at Daniel. He had already turned off his shield. His pistol was away. He stood calm, like always. Thank you," she said softly. Daniel nodded. "Still on duty, ma'am." Lirak approached. "We will adjourn for the day. Security will increase. No one will try this again today." Laura agreed. She gathered her notes. Daniel walked beside her to the exit. Outside, the purple sky had turned deep violet. Stars shone bright. As they stepped into the transport, Laura looked at him. "How did you do that? 4 of them. Bigger. Stronger." Daniel shrugged a little. "Training. Practice. And I had something they did not." "What?" "Something to protect," he said. "That makes a difference." The transport rose into the night. Below, the city lights glowed. Tomorrow would bring more talks, maybe more trouble. But for now, the attempt had failed. They tried to take the Diplomat. The Bodyguard said no, and the galaxy was starting to understand what that meant. The next day started with heavy guards everywhere. Concord security lined the walls of the main hall. Now they wore gray armor and carried short energy rifles. No one wanted more fighting. The purple sky outside stayed calm, but inside the hall the air felt tight, ready to snap. Laura Bennett walked in first. She wore her dark blue suit again. Her steps were steady. Daniel Hayes followed close behind. His face looked the same, calm, focused. But his eyes moved fast. He noted every new guard, every camera, every exit. He had checked his gear twice that morning, shield at full charge. A pistol loaded with fresh rounds, extra power cell in his pocket. They sat at the table. Delegates arrived slowly. Some looked tired, others looked excited. Word of yesterday's fight had spread fast. Many had watched recordings late into the night. Humans protecting their own. 1 man against 4 big Krell. It made people talk. Lyrak opened the session. His 4 arms moved slow today. "We return to the Epsilon issue," he said. "No more violence. We vote with reason." Vrax sat across the table. Miss Laura spoke first. "Earth stands by its wanto orsbot she." Laura spoke first. "Earth stands by its claim. We offer full data on the colony, open inspections, no secrets." A Tormy delegate with bright, glowing skin nodded. "That sounds fair." Vrax cut in. "Fair? You hide weapons. You train soldiers like this one." He pointed at Daniel. "He attacked my guards. That proves Earth plans war." Daniel did not move. Our Vrax stood up. "Enough talk. We end this 1,000 hours." Vrax stood up. "Enough talk. We end this now." He looked at his guards. 6 Krell stepped forward this time. They carried heavier stun rods and small energy shields of their own. Their shells clicked as they moved. Lyrak stood fast. "No, this is against rules." Vrax ignored him. "Take the Diplomat." If the human interferes, end him." The 6 guards advanced. The hall filled with gasps. Delegates backed away from the table. Some ran for the doors. Laura stood. "Stop this madness!" Daniel stepped in front. "Ma'am, get behind the chair." She did. The first 2 Krell came fast. They raised their rods. Daniel activated his shield. The blue shimmer grew stronger. He drew his pistol in the same motion. He fired twice, sharp, clean shots. The rounds hit the rods near the power cells. Then both weapons sparked and died. The guards dropped them, shocked. The next 2 swung low. Daniel jumped back. He rolled under the table and came up on the other side. He fired again. 2 more shots. One hit a shield generator on a guard's arm. It cracked and failed. The other shot knocked a rod from another claw. Delegates watched with wide eyes. A Solar plant being whispered, "He moves like wind." The last 2 Krell charged together. One fired a short energy burst from a wrist launcher. When the blue bolt hit Daniel's shield, the shimmer flashed bright but held. Daniel grunted from the force but stayed on his feet. He closed the distance. He grabbed the launcher arm and twisted. The Krell roared in pain. Daniel kicked the leg joint. The big insect fell hard. The last guard hesitated. He looked at his fallen friends, then at Daniel. Daniel pointed the pistol at his chest. "Drop it," he said. The guard let the rod fall. It clattered on the floor. Vrax roared. "Ha, kill him!" But his guards did not move. They stayed down or backed away. The room was silent except for heavy breathing. Daniel turned to Vrax. "Your turn?" Vrax stepped forward. His claws opened wide. "I will crush you myself," he charged. Faster than the others, his claws slashed down. Daniel sidestepped. He fired once, into Vrax's shoulder joint. The round punched through the shell. Vrax screamed and stumbled. Dark fluid leaked out. Daniel did not fire again. He lowered the pistol. "Stay down." Vrax fell to one knee. His mandibles shook. You are not human. You are machine." Daniel looked at him. "I am human. That is why I fight this way." Laura stepped out from behind the chair. She walked to Daniel's side. Her voice carried clear across the hall. "This is what happens when you threaten Earth's people. We do not start fights, but we finish them. We protect our own, always." Delegates stared. Some stood up slowly. The Aerie with red feathers spoke first. I withdraw my support for the arrest. This was wrong." The Tormy glowing delegate nodded. "Earth shows honor. We vote no." One by one, others spoke. The motion died before it even started again. Lyrak raised his arms. "The attempt to detain Representative Bennett is over. The Conquered will not allow it." Vrax stayed on the floor. Two of his guards helped him up. He glared at Laura and Daniel, but said nothing. He limped out with his group. The doors closed behind them. The hall stayed quiet for a moment. Then people started to clap, soft at first, then louder. Not just aliens, some humans from the Earth team clapped too. They had stayed back, ready to help, but Daniel had handled it alone. Laura turned to him. "You okay?" Daniel checked his shield. It flickered once, then steadied. A small burn mark showed on his sleeve from the energy blast. "Fine, ma'am. Shield took most of it." She looked at the mark. You could have killed them." "I did not need to," he said. "They needed to learn." A Salar delegate walked up. "Your people are different. We thought you weak. Now we see strength." Laura smiled a little. "We are not weak. We are careful. Until we are not." More delegates came closer. They asked questions. They offered talks. They wanted deals now. The mood had changed. Fear turned to respect. Daniel stayed by Laura's side. He scanned the room still, but his shoulders relaxed a tiny bit. Them outside, the purple suns climbed higher. The city moved on. Ships flew in slow lines. Inside, the message was clear. They tried to arrest Earth's diplomat. The bodyguard refused. And in refusing, he showed the galaxy something new. Humans did not break. They bent the rules of power itself. The summit would continue. But from this day, no one would forget the lone human who stood firm. The hall felt different now. The heavy guards still stood along the walls, but they kept their weapons low. No one moved fast. The purple light from the two suns came through the tall windows and made long shadows on the white stone floor. Delegates sat quietly. Many looked at Laura Bennett and Daniel Hayes with new eyes. Lyrak spoke first. His forearms moved slow and careful. "We have seen enough. The motion to detain Representative Bennett is dead. No vote will bring it back." A soft sound rose from the room. Not quite applause, but agreement. Heads nodded. Claws tapped tables lightly. Laura stood up. Her voice was clear. "Earth thanks the Concord for choosing reason. We came here to talk trade and peace. We still want that. The Epsilon colony is open for joint use. Earth will share the minerals we find. No one needs to fight." The Salar delegate with leaf-like hands spoke next. "We accept. Our ships will help guard the station if needed." The Tormi with glowing skin added, "We offer medical exchange, too. Your vaccines interest us." More voices joined. A small species that had stayed quiet before now spoke up. They wanted deals with Earth. They saw strength in the humans, not just in weapons, but in the way one man stood alone and did not break. Vrax did not return to the hall that day. His group stayed away. Word came later that he had left Vexara Prime on a fast ship. His injury hurt more than his body. It hurt his pride. The Krell would remember this. But for now, they stayed silent. Laura turned to the full assembly. "I'll let the record show. Earth protects its people. We do not seek war, but we do not run from it either." She sat down. Daniel stayed standing behind her. His suit had a small burn mark on the sleeve. His shield device was quiet now. He looked tired, but his eyes still scanned the room. After the main talks ended, delegates came to Laura one by one. They shook hands or touched arms in their own ways. They asked questions. They offered gifts, small crystals, data chips, rare plants. Laura accepted them all with thanks. A young Aerie with bright blue feathers approached last. She looked at Daniel. "Your guard. How does one so small do so much?" Daniel answered before Laura could. "Size does not matter. Duty does." The Aerie tilted her head. "Duty. We have that word too. But yours looks stronger." Laura smiled. "Humans feel it deep. When someone is ours, we keep them safe." The Aerie nodded slowly. "We will remember." As the hall emptied, Laura and Daniel walked toward the exit. So one said, "You made us proud." Daniel gave back. One said, "You made us proud." Daniel gave a small nod. Team effort. But they all knew the truth. It was mostly him. Outside, the air felt cool. The two suns hung low. The city lights started to glow in soft colors. The transport waited. Laura stopped before getting in. She looked at Daniel. "You saved more than me today," she said quietly. And Daniel met her eyes. "Just doing my job, ma'am." She shook her head. "No, you showed them who we are. Not weak newcomers, not soft, people who stand together." Daniel looked out at the city. They needed to see it. Now they know. Laura touched his arm lightly. "Thank you, Daniel. Really." He gave the smallest smile. "You're welcome." They stepped into the transport. The doors closed. The vehicle rose smooth and quiet into the violet sky. Below, Vexara Prime shone with lights. But the balance had shifted. Word spread. But the balance had shifted. Word spread fast across the galaxy. Ships carried messages to distant worlds. Stations broadcast short clips of the fight. 1 human against 6 Krell. Precise shots. Strong shield. Unbreakable will. People talked in bars on far planets. Traders shared stories. Leaders in high towers read reports. On a small moon base, a group of miners watched the clip again. One said, "That's us. Humans don't quit." On a big trade hub, an old alien captain nodded. "Never thought I'd say it, but I'd rather have humans as friends than enemies." Back on Earth, news feeds showed the events. Families watched. Kids pointed at the screen. "That's our guy," one boy said. His mother smiled. "Yes, that's our people." Days later, Laura sat in her quarters on Vexara Prime. She wrote a report for home. Daniel stood by the window, looking out. She looked up. "The Concord wants to meet again next month. Bigger group, more species." Daniel nodded. "I'll be ready." Laura closed her tablet. "You always are." He turned from the window. "It's what I do." She stood and walked over. And because of it, Earth stands taller today. Daniel did not answer right away. He looked at the stars outside. Then he said, We all stand taller together. Laura smiled. Yes, how we do. The transport ship from Earth would leave soon. They would go home with new friends, new respect, and a story that would last. They tried to arrest Earth's diplomat. The bodyguard refused to let it happen. And in that refusal, the galaxy learned something simple but strong. Humans protect their own. No matter the odds, no matter the size, no matter the cost. The stars kept shining, ships kept flying. And somewhere in the vast dark, a single human had reminded everyone why Earth endured. The end.